Welcome, everyone, to the Afro-Euro Reco12 podcast. My name is Karen A. I live in Jerusalem. I'm actually here from the Dead Sea, the lowest point on earth, here in Israel. Maybe I'll give you guys a quick view later. But it is my honor and my duty here. We work our program. The spiritual life is a lifestyle for a lifetime. I actually am here on vacation at the Dead Sea. But see, my recovery always comes first, right? We read that in our big book. A price had to be paid. So even though I'm in vacation, thank God I had a beautiful, delicious breakfast, healthy breakfast with nice grainy bread and an omelet and coffee and all that. But see, while other people are doing arts and crafts and walking around or going down to the beach, I know that in order to be of maximum service to my God, my people, and you, my dear fellows, even on vacation, I do my steps 10, 11, and 12 every day, no matter where, no matter what, even at the Dead Sea, the lowest point under the sea here in Israel. It is my pleasure to welcome you, Skye, to our Reco12 podcast. We are self-supporting, and I'll put information on how you could do a step 7 and contribute through PayPal or Venmo. Reco12 Speakers is a group of fellowship of speakers who have recovered, most of them through the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, and are working and living their 12 steps daily. We come from all walks of life, all religions, all socioeconomic sectors, all places of the world, all sides of the political spectrums, and some of them even opposing. And we come here together on the basis of recovery and connecting to our higher power. You could hear Reco12 speakers on the Reco12 website. I'll be posting that link in the chat. And if you'd like to speak in the Afro-Euro time zone, or even in the North American time zone, or wherever you are, you can certainly reach out to me. I'll put my number in the chat, or you could record a little sound bite of your recovery share on the Reco12 SpeakPipe website, application, whatever you call that thing. It is my honor to have Skye here today. Skye, maybe you'll let us know a little bit of your recovery bio, what got you here, what fellowships you're in, and share with us your story today. Skye will share for about 20 minutes. And you can chat your questions in the Q&A. They won't bother us, but I will be taking them live at the end. I'll be adding some of my own questions as Skye shares her experience, strength, and hope in recovery. Thank you so much, Skye. It was an honor to have you.
Thank you so much, Karen. And it is always special to be able to speak about being recovered and the big book, Alcoholics Anonymous, and my higher power. It's just, it is what gets me excited these days and what keeps me connected as well. So thank you so much for having me. I am new to this. I am a newcomer. I am 14 months, 15 months coming up. And I was 49 years out in the world, in self, trying to figure life out. And I did a terrible job at it. Instead of going into a drunkalog, I usually read a little poem, which just really, I wrote in early recovery in my first month because I never wanted to forget how I felt out in the world and without a beautiful program, fellowship, and without God. So I call it thin skin. So I was born with a thin skin and a mind won't let the light in. I can't tell you where I've been all these years. I was born with a hole in my soul, anxious apart, no way home. I seem to know what only the lonely know. I was born with a disease, crawling through life on broken knees, wishing for someone or something to set me free. And at 49 years old, I'd resisted AA for 10 years. My auntie, whose husband had got sober, encouraged me to come into AA. And I had spent some time in a Christian background, and I'd felt very ashamed about my sexuality as a gay woman through the word God. It was used as punishment and judgment. And I had a real problem coming into AA with the word God. And but I was on my knees 15th of September 2022. I destroyed my health, my relationships, my career as a musician. And I was living alone with my dog, drinking myself to death, literally. I was suicidal, completely hopeless. And I'd rang Samaritans and all other helplines, and something made me ring AA that day. I was told that day about the disease of alcoholism, and told that I was not a bad person trying to get good. I was a good person trying to get well. Talked about the physical allergy, the mental obsession, and the spiritual malady, and I would never be alone again. This lady said to me on this 1 hour of service she gave me on the phone. And I've told her since, that 1 hour of service you gave me has given me every hour since. I came in, I was so grateful for page 46 and 47 that talks about it's a God of my conception. Much to our relief, we discovered we did not need to consider another's conception of God. And it was okay. You know, I looked at the sky, I looked at the sun, I looked at the sea, and I was connected to my childhood God again and a power greater than me. I cannot hold a seed in my hand and plant a tree. You know, I cannot make the heart beat in my chest. I always knew there was something greater than me, but I'd lost God. AA, this program, this book has given me God back because it's not been forced on me in a religious way. I studied all the different names for God in my big book as a newcomer. I wrote them all down in pen at the back, Spirit of the Universe. I have a private name for my God now that I don't tell anyone, just to keep it sacred and special. And I call on that name a lot throughout the day. So 14 months in this program, and I wanted to talk mainly to newcomers, and my title was Keep It Simple, because in these 14 months I've come in and I just wanted to highlight the things that I've found that have helped me the most. And I wake up in the morning, and I'm not some spiritual giant. I have scary Skye, I have serene Skye. I have to make a choice, you know. I often wake up feeling overwhelmed. Right now, I'm in a situation in my life where I've been very unsettled. I've had to move out of my home very quickly. I have my elderly dog who's at end of life, and I'm camping in a place with him just to give him a beautiful crossing over. So I'm unsettled. But so I wake up feeling overwhelmed, particularly at the moment. But I get to go straight to God and get out of myself these days, which is such a medicine for me. So I do two-way prayer, which really, really helps with my connection. That's a new thing that I've learned in the last month. And just a couple of days ago, I wrote to God. I wrote, I am pain, you are peace. You are love, I am separation. You are faith, I am fear. I am past and future, and you are here now in the moment. So my first way that I keep it simple for myself is being in the moment with God. I get terrified about the week ahead if I think about everything that I need to do. You know, I still feel very thin-skinned. Now I wake up in the morning, I get to go to God, and I feel a physical stress come into my body in the morning. And now I get to sit with God, and I use all different tools. Chanting, meditation, silent meditation. I get into my big book, and my mind is lifted. You know, in Buddhism, we talk about there is only one moment for you to be alive, and that is in the present moment. When I'm particularly stressed, I will set an alarm on my phone, a chime that will go off every 30 minutes, and I will rightly relate myself to God. I'll just stop and I'll breathe and I'll go, Skye, you know, where are you right now? What is this moment? Where is God? God is here. Just do this moment. Old timers used to say to me, be where your feet are. We have our beautiful, beautiful page 86 on awakening. Let us think about the 24 hours ahead. I don't need to do more than this very day. And I don't need to do more than this very moment. And that is what's helped me the most to calm down my stress, calm down my crazy newcomer head that wants to figure everything out. So that has been a really beautiful and helpful tool to me. Another thing that's really helped me keep it simple, there's four little things I thought of: being in the moment with God, speaking my truth, action, and connection. So the second one is speaking my truth. When I came into the rooms, I didn't even use my real name because I didn't know I was going to like you. I didn't know I was going to let you know me. I didn't trust you. I came into AA at first. And I'll talk to you about that a little bit later on because I am in another fellowship also. My primary addiction was food, but it was alcoholism that brought me to my knees and made me absolutely ebb away and drain away any life force I had in me, literally drank away my spirit, you know. Speaking my truth is something that when I came into the rooms, I didn't know how to do. I wanted you to see my image. I didn't even know how I felt a lot of the time in my life. I'd constructed so many masks. If I was struggling, if I was feeling challenged, if I was brokenhearted, you'd know about it after I had figured it out. I didn't want you to see me in my vulnerable moments. I realized very quickly coming in that honesty was an absolute important part of this program. And on page 563, it actually says in the spiritual experience, willingness, honesty, and open-mindedness are the essentials of recovery. And I just knew I wasn't going to get helped. I wasn't going to get seen, wasn't going to get heard. I wasn't going to get direction. So on my first meeting, sweating and withdrawing and in a terrible state, I said, you know, I am killing myself with alcohol. Please help me. And that was one of the most powerful things I've ever done is ask for help. So there was the beginning of speaking my truth. I was very lucky when I came in because someone was secretarying a meeting I was in and she saw me at 2 days sober and reached out to me. And I was wary of who I let in. Not everyone's safe. Not everyone's well in the rooms. We're all well, different varying degrees on different days. But I ended up building a friendship with this woman, and I call her my truth-seeking missile because she really, really would help me to put words to my feelings, to my language to my pain and my confusion. And she'd ask me how I was, and I wouldn't know. She'd say, how do you feel about that? And I'd say, I'm not really sure. I think I feel okay about that. She said, Skye, I don't believe you. You know, I allowed people close to me that challenged me because I knew I needed to be absolutely the opposite to how I had been those 49 years of my life. And she'd congratulate me. This is the Skye I want to hear. This is the Skye I want to hear when I was vulnerable, when I was letting her know that I was not okay. So that's another thing that I learned, what was so crucial, has kept me alive. It's okay to not be okay. These people always gave me the solution. They let me get it out and passed me the solution, gave me direction, but I was speaking my truth. 10 months into recovery, another way I spoke my truth was food addiction had come back in, and I'd pretty much eaten my way through the first 10 months of my recovery. And I was telling people how I was feeling because I'd been taught this. And a lot of people saying, it's okay, you don't need to deal with that now. But I found myself in active addiction. I found myself hiding chocolate and sitting on the couch with my head in my hands going, I'm not going to go out to the shops. I'm not going to buy those particular foods. And 10 minutes later, I'd be at the shops. So again, I threw myself into another one of our beautiful fellowships, which is OA. And again, I said, I'm 10 months sober, but I am powerless over food. Please help me. Got myself a sponsor again in that fellowship and started working the steps in that fellowship. I had worked the 12 steps in AA at this point. Another thing about speaking my truth is admitting when I'm wrong. I no longer waste my energy building that image or building those defenses. I was on the phone to someone the other day and I'd given them advice. They'd asked me my opinion and they were explaining to me what they'd chosen to do. And it was completely the opposite to what I'd suggested they do. And as they were speaking to me, I felt myself burning inside. You know, I was a bit shamed, self-conscious that I'd not given the right advice. And afterwards, this person said to me, do you have anything to say? And I acted in a very uncharacteristic way. I said, yes, I do. I was wrong. And it was so simple just to say I was wrong. And it was so powerful. And she was like, wow, thank you. And it's like a superpower now, this speaking the truth, because I will be a hothead. Myself will be in there. My ego, I know the word ego isn't in the book. Myself will be in there, but I get right-sized. You know, right now I care more about being well than being right. You know, I give myself a pass every day. I've had wrong thinking for 49 years. My way that I think of myself is so away, so a million miles, cosmic miles away from where God thinks about me. So the third thing that has helped me is action. You know, as a newcomer, if I'm in my head, I'm dead. You know, my thinking ebbed away my life. My thinking emptied out every bit of hope and love. And I was so confused about my thinking because I think life is so precious. And yet I was literally letting it fall down around me. Every aspect of my life, I would build something up and tear it down. I could not understand these cycles of self-destruction. And that is my thinking. That is me naturally. And now I don't even wonder why I was born that way, whatever. That's why I wrote Thin Skin. That's how I was. Let me deal with the facts. So if I'm in my head, I'm dead. You know, I cannot let my brain own me. I am not my thoughts. Thank you, God. I'm not my thoughts. You know, and now I try and get out of my mind and into my spirit, but into my spirituals, you know, into my spiritual actions. Page 83, this beautiful book, you know, the spiritual life is not a theory. We have to live it. And page 58, which we all know, rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. And also on 59, half measures availed us nothing. I mean, I was all in to my self-destruction. I was completely committed to that. Now I needed to be completely committed to my reconstruction. And building this life, you know, building this life. Thank God that we have a design for living, you know, page 28. I had that desperation. You know, I saw escape with all the desperation of a drowning man, a drowning woman. I really, really did. I knew I needed a completely other way. Manual for Design for Living. I call it my manual for sanity because it literally is for me. I need to think differently, you know, I need to think entirely differently. So I pick up my manual for sanity all the time throughout the day. Action for me now is like, it's just, I don't allow my thoughts to run me. They, you know, it doesn't matter why, but this head wants to kill me. It is not well. And I'm a maniac still. A lot of the time I catastrophize. I can be in a really, really safe place and I will think about the most traumatic thing that's happened to me. And I just have to, you know, that is my brain. So getting into my spirit and my spirituals is what brings me peace today and has helped me stay well in this 14 months. And that is getting out of my head, going to my meditation, going to my prayer, going to my book, going to my spiritual readings, learning about two-way prayer, getting out in nature, connecting to God through nature, you know, taking care of my body the best I can. I am doing terribly at that at the moment. I'm not sleeping well. I'm drinking too much coffee. Skye needs to get a grip. You know, reaching out to others, but taking action. I loved page 25 when I came in because it was like, talk about simple. There's a solution. Skye, there's a solution. What? There's a solution to me? I thought I was broken, unfixable, irretrievable, hopeless. You know, now I feel hope. I don't feel useless. I feel useful. But there is a solution on page 25. There was nothing left for us, for me, but to pick up the simple, I love that word, kit of spiritual tools laid at our feet. So that was it. I came in and I followed suggestions because my head was, you know, literally still set. I find it's like a fear factory. It's a magnet for negativity. So I had to ignore my head at all costs. The end of that paragraph, it says, we have found much of heaven and have been rocketed into a fourth dimension of existence of which we had not even dreamed. I dreamed of a spiritual life as a kid. I used to think E.T. was going to come down and be my best friend because I felt so otherworldly, so not of this world, of my parents, you know, and I get to live in the fourth dimension today, which is such a trip. You know, this is not a religious program. It's a spiritual way of life. You know, the fourth thing that I found the most important for me is connection, which to me, connection is the opposite of addiction. You know, my addiction, my food, my alcoholism, they want me alone, absolutely isolated, not telling you who Skye is, not letting you love me for the crazy freak that I am, for the beautiful mess that I am. They want my addiction wants my boundaries up and my image there. They don't want you to hear me not okay, and when I tell you I'm not okay, that is how I stay okay. I stay well by letting you know when I'm not well and taking the next right move, not staying there, but getting to the solution. So, page 28, I did refer to that, but I did come in and I was absolutely desperate to find this tribe. I knew I was dead alone. Talks about we sought the same escape with all the desperation of drowning men. I knew I was drowning and I needed the good swimmers. So I literally hunted out a tribe. I was told to stay in the middle of the herd. I picked the elephant, and everyone in my phone book had an elephant in front of them. And I went after the people that looked well. Some of them, I didn't phone back. I was selective. I watched you for a little while. If you gave me your number in the chat, I'd watch you. I'd hear you share back, and I'd make connections. And like I said, I was very, very lucky, but I was also very, very lucky with the people I met, people that I didn't feel were well, people that I didn't feel were solution, people that didn't challenge me, people that didn't say, Skye, what are you doing? Or Skye, this is what helped me. I didn't let them near me because I did not have time. I knew I needed to get well. I knew that this was urgent. This was my soul at stake here. My first sponsor was not very intense in AA on getting me through the steps and the book. She was a really, really great friend, but at 6 months in, I felt spiritually sick. I was desperate for the solution, for the recovery that I saw in other people through the steps. And I let her go. And I sought out a sponsor who was waving around a big book in a meeting going, this book is divinely written, and who led a big book lovers meeting. And I was like, that's what I need. I need this medicine of the steps. I need to be recovered. So we went through the steps. And the first thing this woman said to me was, Skye, I'm not your friend. I was so relieved. I didn't need a friend. I had my tribe. I'd worked on my tribe. I'd got my tribe. I was connected. I was talking through my day, how I was feeling. I needed my sponsor to get me well, to give me the medicine of the steps. I love her. Now we're friends. After the steps, I have the recovery of the steps. Now she teaches me to live in the steps. You know what I mean? So I have my truth-seeking missile of a best friend. I have my friend who's 10 days ahead of me, that we go, what the hell's going on here? What are these strange seas we're navigating in these recovery rooms? We get it out, but we would always say to each other, what is the next right move? What are you going to do now? I think you need to speak to an old timer. Think you need to speak to your sponsor. Why don't you go to a meeting? Why don't we go to sleep together tonight on Zoom and read a story in the back of the big book? It was all about getting well. It was not staying in our heads. So service now is the greatest medicine for me to get out of self. The privilege, the honor having women coming up to me and asking me to sponsor them is beyond. I mean, I get emotional even thinking about it. It's beyond that. They see something in me. The lights are back on. I am completely connected to a higher power now throughout my day and to my life. And I love it. And it's so, 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 so precious. So service has been, from the very beginning, the first service position I could take was greeter, and I did it. I was like this lost puppy following you guys around with the lights in your eyes because I wanted mine on. They were gone. I'd look in the mirror. I'd think, where am I? I was gone. The light is back on today. And my greatest gift of all of these things, I've kept it simple. I stay in the moment with God the best I can. I speak my truth. I want to be well. I don't care about being right anymore. I get action. I put my spiritual path is action. It's not thought. It's not theological. And I am connected. I'm so connected. I go to bed every night and there's nothing I haven't said to someone. And I'll do my inventory at night, and I have my sponsor there at the end of the night to connect with in that way. The greatest gift for me is on page 75. And I never thought this would be possible for me, who was that thin-skinned creature, completely eaten up with fear, anxiety. Page 75 says we can be alone at peace, at perfect peace and ease. And then page 50, it says, in the face of collapse and despair, in the face of the total failure of their human resources, they found that a new power, peace, happiness, and sense of direction flowed into them. And even on my most difficult days, that is my life today, through being in this book, in the solution, taking action, being connected, speaking my truth, and doing my very best to be in this present moment with God, which to me is love. I get to be in the moment with love. Thank you so much for letting me share for you today. I really hope that I've helped one person, and thank you. Thank you, Karen.
Wow. I'm just so present with you on that grand finale. I'm going to get up and show you guys here. You know, we say this a lot as addicts and we hear it in the room. You know, I stepped away in this nook in the hotel. I think it's even like the maintenance corner. And I just feel so connected to all of humanity. Here right behind me is the Dead Sea. Let's see if you can see it. Okay, I'm here in the Dead Sea in nature, hearing Skye's story with you guys. There are 300 people where I am. And I'm by myself in this corner. See, here's a little maintenance truck. And yet I feel so connected, like Skye said, and I could be in a room full of people at a party. I could be loud, I could be noisy, and feel just so alone. And here we are together on the broad highway. Skye, I have a question for you, and I'm going to invite other people to put their questions in the chat, and we'll answer them in the Q&A. So here's my question. Talk to me about the turnaround. Curious to hear a little bit about your spiritual experience. I hear you worked a practical program of action, which the big book instructs us to do. You observed people, you looked to see who had what you wanted. You created a God squad. I mean, that term isn't in the big book, but it certainly talks about fellows and fellowship, and that you cannot do this alone. You clearly have a strong fellowship. You clearly work a step 10, 11, and 12. I heard you talk about your nightly review. Go to bed with your slate clean. You spoke about prayer. Your step 11 on awakening throughout the day. I'm hearing that. I'm hearing meditation. Connection. Talk about where it shifted. Okay, like the darkest spot, and you know, where and what happened. And was it the garden variety? Was it the slow spiritual experience? Was it an aha moment? A little bit of both. Share with us on all of that.
Yeah, it was like I said, I was always a seeker. I would do transcendental meditation, went to transcendental meditation school when I was really young. I was fascinated by Buddhism and all aspects of spirituality. But, you know, that I lost that connection to this magical other dimension in my life because of my self-destruct. And I joined, at the age of 19, I joined a movement, which was a Christian movement. And because I was so desperate for a spiritual family, my mum was in active alcoholism. I ran away from home to live with my nana, who was also in active alcoholism and died when I was 17. She died of her alcoholism horribly, and I witnessed it. And I sort of ran away from home and lived with this church, which ended up becoming cultish, and it was very controlling. But I was that lost. And that in need of spirituality. So I resisted AA. I resisted AA because of the word God. I couldn't stand it. I thought, again, it was a religious movement. I had this crisis when I came in and you were all talking about your higher power. I had a massive crisis of faith because I thought, I can't do this then. If I need a God, I cannot do this program. I cannot be saved, literally. Then obviously, thank goodness, so progressive, this incredible book. I found 20 something different references for the word God, newfound friend, spirit of the universe. I've got them in my original book, big book, which is in London. And I was absolutely, that unlocked it for me. And there was a moment when I was still reducing alcohol in the week that I was reducing my alcohol because there was so much in my system, I couldn't go cold turkey. And I was on my bed crying because I was in meetings that week. I was connecting to fellows that week. I was hearing the solution that week. But I thought, I can't have this God, this religious punishing God that tells me as a gay woman, I'm not okay. I'm not saved anyway. I'm going to hell anyway. I was just so, my mind was so negative about God. I had a moment in my bedroom through tears where I looked out of the window and there was a beautiful, beautiful sky. And it is actually what I renamed myself Skye when I was 30 because of that was my connection to my higher power as a kid. I'd look at the sky and I looked up, and in that moment I regained, because when I was a child, I was frightened of my parents, and I would look at the sky and I'd think there's something bigger than me out there looking after me. I had a sense of there's something bigger out there looking after me. And at 49 years old, a week in the rooms, reducing alcohol, terrified that this is my only hope, AA, but I have to get, how do I get this God? I looked out of my bedroom window and there's this beautiful sky, and this absolute relief flooded into me, and I was given back the God of my childhood, which was just this beautiful, bigger than me, looking after me, always had done, always would do. And that's why I was still alive in that moment, because I had, almost taken myself out or been taken out, as in died a few times in my absolute madness of my alcoholism. And I thought, okay, it's just that. It's that God. It's a spiritual friend. It's a newfound friend. And I started meditating again, and I started connecting to that God that was just something bigger than me, that created the skies and the seas and the mountains and where I came from and where I believe I'll return to. So that was my aha moment. And then I was in business then. I was in the business of saving my life because I then had that connection. For me, that's the most important thing. If I just go to meetings, if I have connection with fellows, it has to be what I do behind the scenes in my intimate relationship with God. I'm either talking to myself or I'm talking to God. And it's like, I'm just trying to make the conversations more in me and God than me and Skye. And as a newcomer, it's like, how much time do I spend talking to me? Way too much. Maybe 5% God and 95% Skye right now. And I'm hoping as I go along, if I stay increasing my conscious contact, increasing it, asking people, what do you do? How do you talk to your God? This two-way prayer thing that they did in the original they did in the Oxford group, and that I'm fascinated by this. I'm in a 30-day process with that because I just want to know how to connect. I chant with Tina Turner, the peace mantra, every time before I come on screen, because chanting is a really easy way for me to connect, and a quick way as a singer as well with voice. So I do feel like I was rocketed as well, to answer your question, with my sponsor, the way she took me through the steps. We were on screen, we were in the book, and it was action all the way. She didn't allow me to stay in my head. She didn't allow me to get into Skye. She got me into the solution. And so I do feel like I was rocketed. I feel like I had little psychic changes along the way. My step 4 and my step 5 was the most beautiful, beautiful experience. And I just put it all out. I didn't hold anything back. I thought, I'm going to die if there's any part of me that is still held within. If you don't let you see all of me, if I'm not the rigorous honesty that the book talks about, then I'm going back out. And I thought, for myself, I don't think I'd ever get back in to recovery,
Wow. Well, just like the big book says, are you willing to conceive a power greater than yourself? It talks about our founding fathers, disgruntlement with the church. And good for you. You went to see where religious people are right, even though those of your youth had failed you, just like Bill Wilson and other characters of the book. Unbelievable. And I love that, Tina Turner chanting, you look to see where religious people are right and take strength. What I'm hearing there, Skye, is may you find him now, right?
Yes.
Is that any place that Skye can find him now, she is holding on to that Because like she said, she's in business and she means business. And to think is to die, to drink is to die, like our big book says. I'm going to remind everybody, I have a few more questions. I'm on the edge of my seat here. You can go ahead and post your questions in the Q&A and we'll be happy to answer them live. If there's any coaching you want from Skye about working your 12-step program, how to get into it, how to work with others. Skye, do you want to talk about that? When you went from, Skyland, like you said, in self, and now you're into God and working with others, the shift that happened there, you cleared your slate, gave over your step 5, then, wrote down your harms, you made your amends, you made the reparations, and then you started working with others. Talk to us about working with others. And I was so moved when you said that you're so touched when women want to work with you. I relate. You share about your work with others and words about working with others. I know there are also a lot of people, I'll just add one more thing, that are afraid of that or intimidated, or their sponsees are in step 4 forever, or they're in step 4 forever. Talk about getting through this work and getting on the other side and being of service to him and to others.
Yeah. I mean, I think we have a choice, don't we? We can be rocketed or not. For me, it depended on my full commitment. If I want to be rocketed, I've got to rocket the work, I can't be on the slow train if I don't, I don't want it. I think I don't judge anyone's sobriety. My friend calls her slowbriety, but she's had a deep path. She had a deep connection. It wasn't that she wasn't doing the work. It's just that she felt like it was slow for her. But so that is, I think it's different so long as you're doing the work. My responsibility was to, literally to have that attitude, I'm drowning, the desperation. I was desperate. I was told when I came in Skye, you had the gift of desperation. And you know what? Now I realize that was an absolutely sacred gift, because I see people coming in that aren't desperate and they're in and out and they're in this hellish pain. So for me, my first sponsor, like I said to me, she was very relaxed and she sponsored the way, she knew. And, but I realized it was wrong for me. She said to me, we took our time. I was in my step 4 for ages. I didn't do columns. I wrote 80 something pages of hell. And I've been told it's a miracle you're sober through that. And I decided not to do my step 5 with her because I thought, you're not right for me. Bless you. Thank you for the first 6 months and for being my friend. But I'm sick, spiritually sick here. That's why I headhunted this sponsor that was very big book and I thought would absolutely get me through the steps with the urgency I needed. So this first sponsor had said to me, you don't need to sponsor for a year or so. And as a newcomer, I thought that's very reasonable, very reasonable. I don't think I just want to focus on me. Yeah, let me focus on me. That was my mad, sick thinking. That's what got me in the trouble in the first place. That's what got me suicidal, this thinking of me. So my other sponsor, she had 12 things for me to agree to in order for her to sponsor me. And the very first one was agree to sponsor when you are through the steps. And I was like, all right, this is very opposite. But the light was on in this woman's eyes. She was passionate. This woman had been living 3 years prior in a tent, sleeping with a knife and a hammer under her pillow, my sponsor, through her addiction and where it had taken her. And this woman was absolutely full of life and light and hope and purpose and usefulness. And I wanted what she had. So I was like, I agreed to the whole 12 and I did them. She wanted me on my knees, step 3, step 7, prayer every day. I'm like, well, that's a bit radical. And I'm 49 years old and my knees are sore, a few gin and tonic injuries with the knees, it's a bit radical. I got on my knees for the first time and I cried. That act of humbling myself. So I didn't know what a sponsor was when I came into the rooms. When I was a child, a sponsor was someone that gave you £5 because you did a charity run or something like that. I had no idea. And I just, the day, when we went through the work together and we closed the book at the end of the 12 steps and she's like, okay, you can sponsor now. I was nervous, but And I said to her, okay, let's give it 48 hours jokingly. Within 24 hours, someone had asked me to sponsor them, which I thought was hilarious. But also an absolute honor. And since then, other women have asked me, and usually when I've done a share, at a meeting or something like that, or because I've shared back, and what I say in meetings, it's just words, and I don't, it's what I do. I think in the dark hours, in the quiet hours, in the lone hours, and it's that connection. And I'm humbled because I think maybe they could see a little bit of that connection coming through me, like I saw in my sponsor, It's the highlight of my day reading the book with sponsees because I'm in the steps and I'm in the process. I'm seeing the magic of the steps, keeps me in it. And it's the greatest medicine for me to get out of self. I mean, it works from the beginning. I would ring people that were struggling, people that were at the same stage as me or earlier than me coming into the rooms. And, instantly I'm out of my head. And if I'm in my head, I'm dead, So service has been just the most incredible thing. If I'm asked to do it, I will do it. But I try and be careful that I am not burnt out because I don't want to become resentful. I want to do service as much as I can. So I always say yes. And I get my diary out and I'm organized so I don't let people down so that I can show up. But I think AA, I'm 50 now. I think AA is actually, helping me, making me grow up. And I'm so, so, so grateful for that. And thinking of others, it's just, I feel useful, absolutely feel useful. And it gives purpose to my day. And, my step 12, it's my step 12. Do you know what I mean? It's my step 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, how lucky, how blessed, how saved am I have had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps. There's nothing more meaningful in my life than passing this soul-saving information on. We tried to carry this message to alcoholics. And so it's just a joy. And it's so humbling when women ask me. And to practice these principles in all our affairs. I mean, that's the tricky one for me. And I'll be doing that. So it's a work in progress. I am a work in progress, spiritual progress, not spiritual perfection, but this is infinite. My sponsor said this is an infinite journey. I hope to be doing this work to my last breath,
Unbelievable. I apologize. I have a little bit of background noise here and my phone is on 2%. So I want to wrap up in a little bit. This is amazing. So first of all, obviously, put your number in the chat, put your number in the, maybe in the Reco12 group after, letting people know if you're available to sponsor, if your sponsors are. I think that's amazing. I also worked a long dragged out program and it's a miracle that I stayed alive to tell the tale, as they say, right? Because a lot of people relapse or die if they drag out step 4. Oh, Skye, put it to all participants. You put it to hosts and panels. It's just me, you, and Everly.
Oh,
amazing. Thank you. So first of all, y'all, anyone on the line should really reach out to Skye for help, for sponsorship, for fellowship. If she can refer someone if she's not available, she's made the approach, as the big book says, by sharing that she sponsors here in public for all to hear, and this is recorded, so it'll be on the website. I'm sure you'll get some follow-up and feedback from our happy customers. I'm going to throw a live question.
Sorry to interrupt you, darling. I actually can't. There's not a drop down for me to add my number to everybody.
Okay, let's see if I could do it. If not, you can put it in the Reco12 group.
Okay.
No, but what would you do with this? I'm going to throw you a live one, and maybe we'll wrap up with this and break because I'm at 2% here. I have a sponsor who told me that she's about to act out with a married man. She's a sloth. She's in the middle of step 4, and I told her, okay, resentments, fears, and harms, do them. I put it in her court. You have to want this with the desperation of a drowning man. I'm now asking you your advice. You're my sponsor guru. What would you do with this person?
Where is this coming from? Her spirit or her head? Is this a spiritual action? Page 55, that God is within us, you know, she's going to hurt her spirit. She's going to probably hurt his spirit, you know. Is it coming from love? You know, is it coming from self? Is it coming from God? That action, you know. We found the great reality deep down within us, you know. God is within us. It's like, where's it coming from? What's the motive? What's the intention there, you know? Is that a head thing or a spirit thing? Is it spiritual action? You know? Like, we're not arbiters of anyone's sex life, the book talks about, but I'd just ask her to sit down, pause, connect with God. What's the next right move, you know? One of my prayers is, you got me, God. And then the other one is, what's the next right move, you know? And we have lost our host. She did say she had 2% on her battery. I'll just close up then, because when I read you a little poem I'd written in recovery at the very, very beginning, which was about being thin-skinned, you know, as a musician, you know, I can write now. I'm a clear channel, and I'm getting a lot of songs. And the best thing I did is come into this program. The best thing I did was ask for help. The best thing I did was connect to a higher power, let myself be loved for who I am, is to take action, and is to connect and to help other people, you know, being in the moment with God, taking action, having connection, which is the opposite to addiction, and speaking my truth, you know. So now, to anyone who's struggling out there, I wrote this recently, and it's, come out of your darkness, come out of the darkness into your light. It's always inside you. There's nothing to hide. I was broken and hopeless, ashamed and afraid. And the day I said, help me, everything changed. You know, I have a spiritual solution now for my spiritual problem. And it's endless, endless, endless source of strength and solution and connection. I'm no longer alone. It's been incredible to speak to you today. From this newcomer, I hope I've been of some help and some service. And thank you so much. God bless everyone.
I've seen stars fall from above. I've fallen in and out of love. I've been high and I've been low. Now I know I just can't do this on my own. I've seen a boy become a man. He got lost without a plan. He's so far away from home. Now I know I just can't do this on my own. Your arms surrounding me. Your touch is grounding me. No longer searching for purpose all alone. 'Cause now I know that I just can't do this on my own. I'm looking for the words to say. You make the world a better place, and I can call that place my home. 'Cause now I know that I just can't do this on my own. Your arms surrounding me. Your touch is grounding me. No longer searching for purpose all alone. 'Cause now I know that I just can't do this on my own. So let stars fall from above. I fell in and out of love. I got high and I fell low, but now I know that I just can't do this on my own. No, I just can't do this on my own. I just can't do this on my own.